$40 billion. Now, that number isn't the valuation of some hot new tech startup. No, that's the price tag of one of the most spectacular corporate failures in modern history.
But look, this isn't just some dusty business school case study. Think of it more like a ghost story, a $40 billion warning that is haunting the battle raging right now for the very soul of Hollywood and for control of Warner Bros. Discovery. So, to really get a handle on the high-stakes game playing out today, you first have to understand the blueprint for disaster. And that means we need to look back at the failed merger between AT&T and Time Warner.
You see, the core thesis here, which was laid out perfectly in the Rutgers Business Review, is that a fundamental culture clash doomed this deal from the very beginning, from the moment the ink was dry. It wasn't just a bad deal, it was a bad marriage.
And this slide, well, it illustrates the problem perfectly. On one side, you've got AT&T. Think of them as a rigid, process-driven utility. Their entire world revolves around infrastructure, networks, command and control. But then, on the other side, you have Time Warner, a chaotic, creative-first, talent-driven entertainment powerhouse. See the difference? One company builds the pipes, the other creates the magic that's supposed to flow through them. And these two worlds, they were just fundamentally incompatible.
You know, the market is never sentimental, and the numbers don't lie. Just look at this. After the merger, A&T's stock, it actually lost value, a negative 1.05% annualized growth. Now compare that to Comcast, which pulled off its merger with NBC Universal. They didn't just beat A&T, they absolutely crushed the S&P 500. It's clear the investment community saw this culture clash a mile away, and they punished A&T for it.
So from the ashes of that failed empire, a new prize emerges. And this is what's at the center of the war today, Warner Bros. Discovery. And make no mistake, what a prize it is. We're not just talking about a company here. This is a kingdom of iconic, world-class intellectual property. We're talking the entire DC universe, Superman, Batman, the wizarding world of Harry Potter, the epics of Lord of the Rings, the absolute prestige of HBO, not to mention CNN and TNT Sports. This is a genuine treasure trove of content.
But even a kingdom can be vulnerable, and that vulnerability became crystal clear when Warner Bros. Discovery took a staggering $9 billion accounting write-down. Let's be clear what that is. It's a public admission that their TV assets were massively overvalued. It's a huge signal of deep financial distress.
Now, what's truly fascinating is this quote right here from the CEO himself, David Zaslav. I think that puts us now in a really formidable position to split the company. Think about that. Even before this bidding war really got going, the company's own leadership was publicly floating the idea of breaking it all up. That reveals a profound strategic uncertainty right at the very top.
So you have this combination of unparalleled assets on one hand and this perceived weakness on the other. Well, in the corporate world, that's blood in the water, and it drew in two of the biggest predators in the entire media landscape.
Okay, let's look at the tail of the tape. These are the two competing visions for the future of entertainment. First, you have Netflix, making what is essentially a surgical strike, a $72 billion play for just the studio and streaming assets. Their goal? Absolute streaming dominance. Then you have Paramount, backed by Skydance, and they are going for the jugular. A nearly $78 billion hostile bid for a full company takeover. Their goal is completely different, massive studio consolidation.
And let's be absolutely clear, this isn't theoretical, this is an active corporate war happening right now. You've got the Warner board officially backing the Netflix deal, telling their shareholders to accept it. But Paramount, they're refusing to back down, pressing ahead with that hostile takeover. The outcome here, whichever way it goes, is going to completely reshape the entire media industry.
But this battle isn't just being fought in the boardroom. Far from it. Whoever wins is going to have to face a gauntlet of external forces, and there are massive, real-world consequences at stake.
And this is a crucial point to understand. Winning the bidding war is not the end of the fight. A deal of this magnitude, it's immediately going to trigger intense antitrust scrutiny from the U.S. Justice Department and the FTC. It's going to face challenges from international regulators, and you can bet it will draw bipartisan fire from politicians who are very, very wary of creating a new media monopoly.
And for all of us, for consumers, the stakes really couldn't be higher. Just listen to this quote from Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos. He said movie theaters are an outdated concept. That's a pretty chilling preview of a potential future, isn't it? He doesn't see theaters as partners. He sees them as competitors to be defeated. So that leads to the big question for anyone who loves going to the movies. If Netflix wins this war, what happens to the theatrical experience? Are we going to see Warner Bros., the studio of cinematic titans, relegate its biggest films to short, token theatrical runs before locking them away on a streaming platform forever? We're talking about the very future of cinema here. It's on the line.
And then there's the politics, an unprecedented political dimension, really. Former President Trump has publicly stated that he will be involved in that decision. That's a direct signal of his intent to influence the antitrust investigation. And with his connections to key figures on both sides of this deal, this political maneuvering adds a completely volatile and unpredictable element to the whole process.
And all of this brings us right back to where we started, with that $40 billion question. Will the winner of this war actually build the undisputed media empire of the 21st century? Or are they simply doomed to repeat the past? Are they ignoring the hard-learned lessons of corporate culture and just paying billions of dollars for what could be the most expensive rerun in history?